Discover new career horizons in education, forging innovative paths and making a difference. Hello, wonderful attendees. I'm your host, Dalvinder Kaur from lovely Professional University. Get ready to dive into today's topic, that is new career options in education sector. Before we proceed further, allow me to introduce the experts of the day. Dr. Vijay Kumar, Professor and Dean, School of Education, lovely Professional University. With over 20 years of experience in teaching, education, emotional intelligence, and academic monitoring, he has guided numerous masters and PhD. So I would like to introduce Dr. Rajiv Chakrabarti, Associate Professor, School of Education, lovely Professional University. With a rich career spanning various roles in academia and instructional design, his expertise extend to research supervision with a notable portfolio of guided PhD and master's level exploring diverse aspects of education and psychology. So now I would like to introduce Dr. Aishwarya Jaiswal, Senior Research Analyst, Mercer, with extensive expertise in psychology and organizational behavior. Dr. Jaiswal brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to today's session, from her doctoral research to her accolades and achievements in academia, embodies excellence in the field. So I would like to introduce admission nominee in this webinar, Mr. Pankaj Ved, Head Department of TIEPS, Division of Admissions, the lovely Professional University. He is having 18 years of experience in multiple domains, including teaching, training, and operations. He's taking up the eligibility, scholarship, fee structure, and infrastructure part of the university. Before we proceed further in today's session, I would like to request everyone for any questions, you can write in the chat box or in the Q&A box. And same will be addressed from my side in the end of this webinar. And now I hand over the session to Dr. Vijay Kumar, Dr. Rajiv Chakrabarti, and Dr. Aishwarya Jaiswal. And it would be an absolute delight to listen from all. Over to you all.
Thank you, Dalvinder. Dear friends, I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a minute. Yes. Good morning, good evening, dear friends. I, Dr. Vijay Kumar Chechi, Professor and Deputy Dean for School of Education, along with my co-hosts, Dr. Rajiv Chakrabarti from School of Education, and our guest from the industry, Dr. Aishwarya Jaiswal, would like to discuss the topic new career options in education sector. We all know that we have a focused attention that we are going to become the teachers after we pursue a degree in education, which may be a B.Ed or M.Ed or integrated B.Ed M.Ed or the integrated B.A. B.Ed or B.Sc B.Ed. Dear friends, it is not the only option that is there in the education field. We had a lot of opportunities to go with. So herein, we are going to discuss about the two lines in the industry that are available to the education graduates. Firstly, I would like to talk about the instructional designer, and we have the resource person for on this, Dr. Rajiv Chakrabarti, who is going to answer the questions related to how we can become the instructional designer after we pursue our education degree. So, Dr. Rajiv, my first question to you is how important it is for a professional teacher to acquire the instructional designing skills.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you can continue.
All right. So it's a very, very important question, because what happens in Bachelor of Education program is that we prepare professionals who become experts in delivery of the content. But delivery of the content comes later. We need to first of all design the content. Or to be more specific, before we learn how to deliver the instruction, we should know how to design the content. So designing of the content calls for a very important aspect called content analysis. And this content analysis part, because you can become a teacher of any school subject and deliver it in the classroom. But in order to do justice with the instruction of a particular kind of content, we should be aware of what type of content it is, first of all. I would like to give it in the with the help of science subject. Uh, in 8th class, 9th class, or 10th class, there can be typical 10 to 12 units in the textbook. You take up any unit's content can be broadly divided into either a fact, process, concept, procedure, or a principle. That's it. The teacher can lay the finger on any one particular page, and wherever his or her finger lands on that particular page is either a fact, concept, process, procedure, or a principle, content-wise speaking. Now, if this particular content is been analyzed by the teacher, he or she can then add this knowledge of instruction designing, content analysis with his or her knowledge of pedagogy and do rightful justice while giving the instruction. So this is how, sir, to take the teaching instruction skill to the next level altogether, it is vital, it is essential that the trained teachers should have knowledge of instruction design. So, you're mute, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry. Dr. Rajiv, you have rightly said that just to elevate your teaching potential, you can go into the industry. And so hence, I would like to just understand from you and to the audience that after this, if you want to be an instruction designer, what type of skills you will be requiring to become an instruction designer? What skill set is demanded by the industry?
Sir, designing of a content basically is like film production. A beautiful example, a beautiful analogy that I can give you is designing a content is equivalent to making a film. Now, we all know film production calls for so many expertise to be on the field set. Apart from the director is the instruction designer. If you want me to draw an analogy between filmmaking and e-content development, the director of the movie is the ID of the e-content. But then you need a producer also to fund, give the project. Here comes project manager. You require singers to sing song. Here come voiceover artists. Okay, we have so many beautiful VFX in today's Bollywood movies. So that means we call for graphic designers also. We require graphic designers also in instruction designing. And then all these things are added by dubbing artists so that the movie comes on the screen. So we also need integrators. So, sir, the point is, apart from a graduate, frankly speaking, in India, to become an instruction designer, the basic qualification is graduation. But apart from graduation degree, where the person can have his or her own subject expertise, it is very essential that, first of all, the person should have fantastic communication skills and ICT skills, information and communication skills. Because in the field of instruction designing, sir, every day new softwares come. The softwares can be pertaining to editing of images, editing of videos, sound images, or screen recording. So for multiple activities pertaining to e-content development, these days we have softwares which are not only commercial but also openware also. So the person who wants to become instruction designer, apart from having fantastic communication skills, must have ICT skills also. And most importantly, an ID in any company works in a very close proximity with several other professionals like voiceover artists, subject matter experts, project manager, graphic designers. So a person who is very extrovert, who loves people, who loves to interact with people, I mean, good interpersonal skills will also help a long way to become a successful instruction designer in a very short span of time.
So thank you for giving us a list of skills that are required to become an instruction designer. But still, what is the expectation of the industry in terms of the roles and responsibility that are required by the e-content industry from the candidate?
Sir, the only requirement in a nutshell that e-content industries would be expecting from any instructional designer is to complete the project on time. In industries, the deadlines are like the thing which cannot be lost at whatever cost, because there are clients who are waiting for the deliverables. So it is very, very important. And There should not be any compromise with the quality of the content. So quality of the content has to be intact, but it has to be produced in a very short span of time. That too in collaboration with different stakeholders, as I said, in the development of content. So, sir, it is very important that the instructional designer learns and the very important quality that any instructional designer should have is that he or she should be very quick in understanding any new content under the sun, because an instructional designer is content neutral or audience neutral. An instructional designer will be given any content under the sun for any audience of any particular age, and the customized instruction as per the learning objectives as mentioned by the client has to be delivered on time. So doing need analysis, accordingly coming up with learning objectives, and then analyzing the content, customizing it, giving it a new look by including all sorts of e-assets, working with all the stakeholders, and coming up with meeting the deadline are the roles and responsibilities of instruction designers in e-learning industry.
More or less, a teacher is on daily basis does this all type of skills that are there in the instructional design industry. The teacher is looking after the students from the self-esteem aspect, also communication, also looking after their daily needs also. So more or less I feel that with the course of instructional designer, the instructional design and e-content development that is there in the program, the students will be acquiring the good skills. Further, Dr. Rajiv, that I would like to further grill you a little bit. So what are the good practices that an instruction designer is generally following while developing the content?
Sir, the good practices can be in 2 to 3 levels. First of all, let me talk the first things first. The instructional designer is supposed to know about the industry standards. By that, what I mean is that any e-content that is developed has to match the market expectations. And across the world, there are certain standards which are set in place as far as any e-content is concerned. E-content can come into the market, it is saleable, it is commercial product only if it meets certain standards like SCORM and AICC. So shareable content object resource model, and this aviation industry computer-based training this thing model is there. These are the names of 2 standards. So any e-content that is developed has to match the requirements of SCORM and AICC standards. So only then that particular product can be called saleable in the market and can be brought up by any interested candidate, whoever wants to market that particular content. So that is the technical aspect of it, sir. Apart from that, a good practice that needs to be followed is that the instructional designer has to be very good in file management, because, sir, instructional designing is such a work where multiple rerun have to be done on a particular product before the final product comes into the market. In fact, we have different terms in the industry. We have something called alpha version, beta version, gold version, silver version. These are the names of the same storyboard. I mean, storyboard is the basic template in which the e-content is done. I mean, the ID develops that particular content, that is fine, but it has to be technically ratified by subject matter expert, language-wise ratified by language reviewer. So when language reviewer says any comments, give any comments, again, they need to be updated. So an instructional designer has to keep the versions, different versions of the storyboards in a proper alignment. That calls for fantastic file management, sir. Okay, so this is a very important criteria. Practice-wise, if you ask me, is that the instruction designer must have good file management skills. That is one of the good practice. Another thing is that, sir, maintaining rapport with the previous clients is quite essential, because an instruction designer, as I said, is content neutral and has to work, design content for different kind of audiences. He or she will be working in his career in different verticals. By verticals, I mean, it's an industry term. It basically means an instruction designer may initially take up a project which is related to Indian Army. Then Indian Army may give a particular project to an e-learning company to say that, see, this is the new kind of Bhishma tank that DRDO has given us. We want to train all the captain level army officers who are tank officers to drive this particular tank, design a content. And we are giving you 3 months. So the instruction designer first project is for an Indian Army. Next, after 3 months, he or she may work for nursing industry or tourism industry. So for different clients in different verticals, the instruction designer as a professional has to develop customized content and deliver it within the timeline. So delivering, maintaining a very good rapport with the previous clients helps a lot, sir, because any new technique that every time the instruction designer in the name of novelty cannot come up with something new, he or she has to refer to the previous work he or she has done to take some cues. So it's a very good practice to keep a kind of archive kind of a thing of the previous works so that he can revisit and come up with some ideas. Yeah.
Very good explanation, Dr. Rajiv. One last question from you on related to instruction design industry. What are the job prospects are there, and what are the salary uh, brackets that can start with and to reach up as a maximum in the e-content industry?
Very pertinent question, sir. Sir, frankly speaking, e-learning industry started in India around 2000, year 2000. And by 2005-10, India saw a rapid development in software industry. So basically, e-learning, e-content development industries, they come under ITES, not IT, information technology industry, but IT-enabled services industry. So if ever somebody has to look for job prospect, he or she needs to apply under ITES enabled jobs. So in those jobs, the first, Lisa, in the industry, instruction designing is a very big title. In the very first day, a fresh graduate, in spite of giving a fantastic interview or doing really good in the practicals of the job interview, will not be given the designation of instruction designer. He or she will be made instructional writer, where he or she has to deal only with the content which is in the textual form only. Only when he or she proves his or her worth as a very good person with texts, which will be in the initially he or she can be offered 25,000 or so. But then slowly after 1 year, depending upon how he or she has learned or shown his or her skill as far as textual content is concerned, he can be upgraded. His position may be upgraded to junior instruction designer, and as a salary can be slowly moving to 30, 35. After 5 years, honestly speaking, because the market demands at least 5 years of experience and fair amount of experience in developing content within deadline in different verticals to be given the designation of instructional designer senior. So a senior instructional designer can anywhere earn from 60 to 75,000, sir. So after 10 years, they become consultant. And the consultants basically charge, sky is the limit. Minimum 1 lakh is the minimum that one can expect from for a consultant. So, and the prospects, it's huge. Sky is the limit, because we all know information technology is everywhere, and irrespective of the countries. And in fact, the best thing is that we Indians are very good in communication skills. So those countries which generally have their education in their own vernacular background, but they want to develop content in English language, they hire Indians. Say, for example, or Middle Eastern countries. So an instruction designer with Indian market experience of 4 to 5 years and with a passport ready can easily get absorbed in ITES companies, e-content industries in foreign Middle East countries as well, sir. So the prospects are huge, sir. Sky is the limit.
So there is a very good starting salaries even for 1 lakh also in the for the starting fresh graduate in the Gulf countries for the as an instructional designer position.
Yes, that can happen because of the currency. Yeah.
So international placements and work from home opportunities are large enough in the instruction design industry, because I have been known of the fact that even the USA companies are giving the work from home opportunities for the instruction designers, and
That's
they
true,
pay huge in terms of the packages,
yes.
even 1 crore package per annum. Is
That's
that
true, sir.
true?
That's true, sir. Because to do this particular job or be a professional in this particular field, all we need is a good broadband connectivity, a very good configuration laptop or a desktop, and couple of softwares, and your skill sets, and you're good to go. So even for that matter, there are many young professionals. What they do is like they join any e-content industry, be there in the industry for say 5 years, gain all the experience of how it works in the industry, know the pipeline of work, and immediately they come out. By the age of 30, 35, they come out and they start their own work at their own pace. They become freelancers, and they have their 5 years of industry experience also to show. So freelancers are pretty much there in this field. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rajiv. Thank you. Now, dear friends, we are going to talk about the another career option in education sector, that is of psychometrician related to psychometry, wherein we are using the educational measurement and evaluations, and we try to use that in the analysis of different data and development of the tools for analyzing the human behavior, human actions, and it is helping us to deliver to different industry requirements as per the need of the specific profession, to train the individuals and to recruit individuals for that particular profession. So for this, I would like to question Dr. Aishwarya on the requirement that what are the primary responsibilities of psychometrician in the assessment industry.
Um, okay, so am I audible?
Yes, Dr. Aishwarya, you are
Thank
audible.
you for confirming, Dr. Rajiv, and thank you everyone who's present here. So I'd like to share my views on it. So primary responsibility when it comes to being a psychometrician in general, not even just in industry, but also in academics or anywhere, when you are a psychometrician, it's because the field is a blend of psychology, statistics, and education, is to develop assessments that are fair, reliable, and valid. These are the three most important elements for any assessment, because they are the ones that if my assessment possesses these qualities, then only I can confidently use it for varied purposes, whether it be for an educational placement, whether you'll study in LPU or not, whether you'll be selected or not, which subjects you'll be provided, that's an educational placement. Similarly, if you apply for a job in my company and the employment decision, so, because many of the significant life events and outcomes and turning points of people are associated with these assessment outcomes, the primary responsibilities are developing assessments that are fair, reliable, and valid. Now, I'll come on to the things that a specific task aspect of things that we do to ensure that the assessments we have developed meet these criteria. So very first one is test development. Here by test, I refer to assessment. It could be any type of assessment. Test is a very specific thing and assessment is a broader term, but those are mostly used interchangeably. Is test development and design, which involves conceptualization of a concept. If I say happiness, it could be the number of times you smile while you are attending this session, or the number of times you smile throughout the day. But this is an operational definition. You could not be smiling and you could still be very happy. So very first thing is conceptualization, which involves operational definition, that I want to measure happiness. Perfect. Finland is the happiest country. How do you know that? What parameters you took? Maybe India doesn't have the same parameters, still we are happier than them. So how you conceptualize the concept is a very important aspect. Then writing appropriate behavioral indicators and items to assess this. And by items, I don't always refer to statements like, I feel like this today, or are you collaborative with your colleagues? No, it could be a complete scenario depending on the type of test you're using. If it's a situational judgment test, it will be a complete scenario. If it's a picture judgment test, here the item refers to the complete picture that you will be given. So next thing where we seek support from academics and people like Dr. Rajiv and Dr. Vijay is ensuring that the items that we have written are bias-free and accurate, ensuring their quality. So here we need subject matter expertise and go back to experts in academics, and based on their review, we conduct content analysis. Delphi method is there. Then we move on to conducting any statistical research like item analysis. So whenever people usually hear the term psychometrics, it's like, okay, we just start with something analysis and all, but that comes on later. There's a lot of theoretical aspect, subject matter expertise that goes. Then we come on to the actual data analysis, things like item analysis. And within that also, there are many responsibilities and considerations, which I'll cover, like which analysis to use. I decided using classical test theory, but that doesn't apply. So I should have that expertise that, okay, no, item response theory is a better approach here. or within IRT, which is the model that should be used. If it's a developed model, shall I go with confirmatory factor analysis? Or if it's a new thing I'm working on, shall it be an exploratory factor analysis? So next responsibility of a psychometrician is to determine the type of analysis that will be needed and conducting that evaluation. Suppose I just designed a study which is meant for campus hiring from your own campus, the bachelor's in education students. And the norm group that I used, the group I used to create the test was a group of professors. So what will happen? And this is a cognitive test and not a personality test that I'm using. So what will happen? The items that may be very difficult for you may be very easy for your professors. And if I give that test to the students, everyone will fail. So they are all not recommended, but not recommended because of my mistake. So it's a very important and amongst the primary and foremost responsibility of a psychometrician to ensure a correct psychometric evaluation in terms of developing scaling norms, designing the study, choosing the sample. The sample should be heterogeneous. It should be large enough. It should be representative of the sample of the population for which the test is being designed. Another consideration that's very important is adherence to the guidelines. So we do have guidelines everywhere, but when you come to the industry, those are the guidelines that have been issued by the International Test Commission. Those could be the ones issued by the British Psychological Society, their division of testing, and it's mandatory to abide by those guidelines. And if you don't, so in India, we don't have those regulatory bodies and we can still use our test if we don't abide by them. There's no body that's sitting to do that check. But if you don't abide by the guidelines strictly in the global context, they won't let you use your test, the one you have developed in their territory. If it's not certified by the British Psychological Society, you can't use it in UK, you can't use it in Europe and other countries. Similarly, there could be lawsuits if US moves on to use your tool, despite knowing that the sample that you use was not bias free. It had more men than women or more women than men. And this was the composition. It was not bias free. And the psychometrician did not ensure this was bias free. This leads to lawsuits. And there are many lawsuits, especially globally, that psychometricians have to attend the court and give the evidence. No, I did ensure that it was bias free. I did these studies, this is specific analysis, and ensured that this wasn't the case. Because now we have neurodiverse population, people coming from different backgrounds. There have been issues, court cases, even related to specific languages. Because when you're giving an assessment, you're doing a check of their ability or personality and not their language. So when you're writing the items, you should be very clear about that just because of a certain language or jargon, it's not clear to a specific sample. So everyone who is educated till a level of class 5 or class 8, as the client demands, should be able to understand the item in a similar way. I'll give you an example, just like Dr. Rajiv gave, a Middle East example. Suppose you're hired, then you start working. And we are into a habit of saying that it's my gut feeling. I want to do this and let's do it and give it a try. In Middle East, this concept doesn't exist at all. If you will tell this to them, they'll be like, okay, it's something related to your stomach and why are you bringing it in the work context? So these are specific things that one has to make sure that the item quality is good, the design is good, what is the sample, whom is the test meant for, the language. Even if it's a translated version, the numerous steps in ensuring that the translated version has a certain factor structure, it meets certain qualities. So quality assurance in industry, just as I said, abiding by guidelines, quality assurance is another very, very important thing. There are ethical guidelines, there are industry standards, then there are regulatory guidelines, and you should abide by that. If I want to develop a perfect assessment, but what I have currently accessible is 10 or say 100 companies, but just from the manufacturing industry. I can't use it across industries and say, no, this test is meant for all. What if it's a fashion industry or IT industry? But the group that I used to develop the test was not heterogeneous. So I didn't meet a single criteria, which is the standard in designing an assessment for the industry. And I worked 6 years in developing that specific assessment, which is now a total waste because no regulatory body is going to certify it. So quality assurance and compliance to the guidelines is a very significant aspect when it comes to a tool in industry. Then there's continuous monitoring involved. We call it quality control. And throughout the life cycle of the test or assessment that you have developed, you need to monitor it. I'll tell you how. Because today we have very smart students. We had the same 10 years back or 2 years back, but maybe the current batch is smarter or slower. So same abstract thinking or critical thinking test that I was using 2 years back had a set of 10 items in difficult. Now, when we are taking that same test and giving to the current cohort, so they're easily able to answer those difficult items. So being in an assessment industry, it's very important for you to do that continuous check that what is the difficulty label assigned to the item 2 years back? Is the tool behaving the same way currently? If not, what tweaks have to be there? What has to be pivoted? Maybe there are out of those 10 items, 2 items have their difficulty label may have changed, like the level of difficulty perceived by the candidates in answering would have changed. So you need to do proper classical test theory analysis, item analysis, IRT analysis, recheck the difficulty labels of the items and assign them to the right category. Otherwise, your test will fail to be a valid test because you gave them 10 items of difficult, which actually turned out to be medium or easy. So your expectation to screen out the ones who were able to answer the toughest of the critical thinking questions in least amount of time is not met. It's not no more a valid test. Ensuring this quality control and monitoring over time is again a very significant responsibility of a psychometrician in this industry. Besides, when it comes to the business landscape, one differentiator or one another significant responsibility is keeping an eagle's eye on the market trends and innovations. So we live in a world where change is the only constant, and I'm trying to catch up with ChatGPT 3.5. Then the next day 4 came, then dynamic came, then 4.0 came, and you're lost because every day new sort of innovations are happening. And it's very basic. And there is a competitor sitting who's catching up with everything and introducing new types of assessments based on the innovations. But they are startups. And you are a huge company. You can't pivot your model altogether. Now a scenario comes wherein a client enters and say, but I think that they have introduced gamified assessments and it's working better. It's taking less time. I'm opting that. It's whose responsibility is it to answer the client and support the other team, sales and marketing in that case, to convince the client, no, see this could not be the case. Maybe they are, maybe I'm just starting, maybe they're less reliable, less valid. This is what you perceive. But who is the one who's going to research that and convince the client? Who is the one who is going to run some pilot, some comparative study, and determine the dimensions on which I'll compare? I'll compare on reliability, validity, fairness. Reliability, which type of reliability I will take. And validity, which type of validity I'll take and check that no traditional assessments are still better than innovative gamified assessments. Maybe you use them today, the results are coming okay, but next time you go on to use them, they are not worth it. And you will have two candidates pools selected by two different methods, and you don't know who's the better one. So you can end up making mistakes, but it's primarily and completely the responsibility of the psychometric team to help the other teams, other client-facing team answer these questions based on the market trends and innovations that are happening. So one needs to be totally updated with whatever trends are going on, whatever updates could come, so that if in future this comes up, I'm already like reading about it, researching about it, its implications, and what sort of researches are being done, what needs to be done, what are the parameters over which I'll compare them. So this is again a big responsibility for this team, for any psychometrician in industry. Then two more, I think, most important primary ones would be client consultation and support. As I said, like a client comes and they say they want some customized solutions, and you have 20 items in general mental ability. I want just 5 and I know it will work. But what if it doesn't work? If the hiring fails, everyone is rejected. They'll again come back and say, you didn't give a disclaimer that this can't be done. And even if your client-facing team say this can't be done, they'll have a question, why can't this be done? So who will go on to assess and tell that, see, when you're giving 20 questions, this is the level of impact it has on hiring, its predictive validity, criterion validity. If you use only 10 or 5, what is the impact it's going to bear, what you will lose out because of removing that? And maybe the customization is possible, but till what level? So this stakeholder engagement and researching to specific client questions is again comes under the responsibility and scope of a psychometrician's work. Then there's training and support to other teams. New assessment is developed. They say that the client is saying that an assessment we have been using for last 5 years, they find it more prone to faking now. That could be a scenario. So the one who's going to research on the alternatives available. Maybe the items are perfect. I don't want to change this. I could just tweak in the responding method. I was using Likert. They had to respond from strongly agree to strongly disagree. I make it forced choice now, which is less prone to faking, and the no candidate is able to distinguish, like it is there are four statements, there's a quartet, and they have to choose which is most like me, which is least like me for the same statement. So it's obviously a bit more tricky to answer in compared to when you just have to answer it on a 5-point scale. So I may not go on to develop a new assessment altogether. I may not change items, but I'll just change the method, response method and scoring method, and the problem is solved. So looking into such solutions, the innovative solutions are again based on client feedback and request, and monitoring performance of the assessment is a responsibility of the psychometric team in any company. Then reporting and communication, whatever research we are doing, because we are doing continuous monitoring of our tools. So it's our responsibility to document them well for our client. Because if I go on to say I have a perfect assessment for hiring candidates, but I have nothing to show to them, so no one is going to trust my words. And here it becomes very, very critical, because the one for whom I'm writing is not at all going to be someone from the psychometric background or psychology background. They could be all BTech MBAs who don't understand what it means that 0.001 level of significance relationship between my assessment and hiring. No. So, and most of your clients will be like that. They could be government officials who are working alongside village representatives for a major government project. Like we have vendors for digital skill initiative as well. So for such products. So here documentation becomes very important. It should be simple, clear, plus understandable for every segment and not just the scientific community. So rather than writing that it's 0.001 level of significance, I will report that, but the interpretation I'll write that will be in terms of confidence and generalizability. That my results are generalizable at this population, at this level, which means that if the same study gets conducted these many times, these will be the implications. And not even this detailed, you have to make it simpler and concise. So documentation of whatever is being done is important, even for receiving certification and getting accreditations from leading bodies in UK, Europe, US. You need these documentations. You do submit that, they do a cross check, and then only permit your assessments to be used for companies in those countries. Otherwise, you can't simply go on and use them. So, and as I say, adhering to ethical guidelines, here it becomes important, because when you're working globally, you have to adhere not just to one standard guideline, but country-specific guidelines as well. If I'm working in India or South Asia, I could easily ask a candidate response field response for ethnicity. What's your ethnicity? And people will fill. But if I'm doing the same research in Italy, this CRF can't be there. The reason being they have had a very bad history of civil wars, and they find it very objectionable when asked one's ethnicity, and this is going to impact their entire performance in the test. So when it comes to adherence to guidelines, one has to be very clear that I'm using this translated version for this geography. Am I abiding to every single guideline that has been laid down for the country, or every single recommendation is there? And that's why we hire subject matter experts as well from those countries who have a clear understanding of the background, etc. for those, so that this proper documentation could be done. So I think these are the major responsibilities.
Yes, Dr. Aishwarya, you were right. You had given a very detailed role and responsibilities of the psychometrician, starting from its development of item to the end stage, looking the consultant and looking the client, everyone. That's very great. But I would like to be to request you to be a little brief
Sure.
on the further questions. Further, just in brief, what are the skills that are required for from the psychometrician as a
Sure.
profile?
So in a brief, it's a mix of technical, analytical, and interpersonal skills. One should have a good knowledge of the statistical concept, what to use when to use mean, when to use mode, when to use t-test, and when to use paired t-test, depending on the purpose. So a very clear understanding of all types of statistics, whether it be descriptives, inferential or others, a knowledge of conducting them over numerous softwares and not just one, not being limited to just Excel or just SPSS or R. These are the basics, but having an understanding of conducting it over varied softwares. Uh, then an understanding of research, what should be the research design if the question in consideration is demands a experimental design or a correlational design. Then adherent, as I told about guidelines, one should have awareness of guidelines. Most important ones, apart from these basic knowledge ones, would be critical thinking and problem solving, because one should be able to think totally out of the box, connect dots just based on the inputs they have given, and be able to address the issue effectively. There should be great attention to detail. One should be in a habit of double checking everything they have done. Then only they can ensure quality and be vigilant and exercise that quality control. Communication and interpersonal skills, as I already covered in the previous example, because your clients are never going to be experts in psychometrics. They are going to be normal general population people. And then a quest for learning, that staying updated with the market trends and what's happening around, and staying curious around research, maybe the
That's
major
right.
skills, I would say.
That's right. That's right. Okay, just now you have just talked about the skill. So how it is a teacher who is wanted to go into the psychometry profession, how he, what type of assessment skills he should acquire?
For a teacher to go into assessments, okay, I think the skill set remains the same, because they somewhere have a good understanding of the basic concepts of in psychology and education. They have an understanding of research. The exceptional thing to be worked on would be the aspects of market research and competitor understanding, and staying up to date with the innovations in the market.
That's right, Aishwarya. So what type of challenges do you feel that when, though you have given your answer in very detail in terms of the client role and the individuals that are being challenged on daily basis with respect to the development of the tools, but still, what type of challenges are faced by the psychometricians?
So major categories would come into my first three words in ensuring validity, reliability, and fairness. That how to ensure that the measure is valid, it is fair, and we do have strategies to overcome it. Like I said, we take help from you people in academics for content validity as expert reviewers. We do construct validation by factor analytic techniques. We do run criterion validity studies to save ourselves in courts and also to remain relevant over time. Then around bias and fairness, I covered in my first example itself that if it's a campus hiring, I can't have a group of CEOs taking it and I develop an assessment. Also, it should be adverse impact fee. It should not be biased towards uh, any specific population or any specific group. And we do analysis like differential, apart from ensuring that it's a heterogeneous sample and well representative, there are specific analysis that we have to overcome it, like differential item functioning, adverse impact analysis. Other things comes to item development, which I already explained in my first example. A very major one in industry is test administration and security, because you have developed a fantastic test that's able to screen people who are not at all good at task A from those exceptionally well at task B, but the not good ones did cheat and were able to surpass even the ones who could actually perform at a very good level. So one very big challenge is to prevent cheating and maintaining the integrity of the test. Metal is the largest proctoring company when it comes to it. We have great proctoring services. So when it's a computer-based testing, it should have robust security features. It should prevent unauthorized access and cheating. And this is the reason that Metal also offers proctoring services, because just testing with the unregulated one that doesn't provide a robust security check on the aspects of cheating and unauthorized access, or the presence of third person is going to spoil everything that you have worked on. I'll just give you an instance. Even if I'm sitting here, I move my head from this direction to this direction. I say a hello to anyone, that's going to be detected, and the report that the college or the client gets, they will have it written down there along with the image that she moved her face twice from right to left and waved a hand to someone. Also, we saw a shadow that someone could be there, and I'll be flagged as ingenuine. So I'll score 100, 99 out of 100. But I'll be scored as an ingenuine candidate, that their reports should be checked again. Their proctoring reports, which are saved, should be checked again. If I was actually cheating, or it was a part of my habit that I just move my head from right to left when I'm thinking. Because people do think out loud that way. Some people use their hands, some people just touch their heads. Everyone has a different pattern. So this is a robust feature that we have. Thanks to it, that we are able to overcome a very significant challenge when it comes to robust security in answering any test. Then it's scoring and interpretation, that the scoring should be fair, and what methods to use, and having a representative sample. Technological challenges in industry, it will always be there. Now there's no trend of paper pencil test, because everyone is situated remotely and working from different geographies as a team. And if you want to take an assessment for them or interview them, you're not going to go to their country to do that. But in countries like ours, there are technological challenges. A candidate could be very good at things but not possess a laptop. So technology should permit them that even the same assessment that a candidate with a MacBook can take, with a Dell can take, with an Android phone, with an iPhone can take, a person with a basic Android should also be able to take that. So overcoming the technological challenges is another big thing in
Big
assessment
thing for
industry.
the
Yes.
assessment industry.
And all
Right,
companies, including ours, are working on making it more accessible to all segments of the society. Even for us, it started when the government gave us the Digital India Skill Initiative, Skill India Initiative, that all the assessments had to come to the mobile, all the services have to come to the mobile, so that anyone with
Yes.
the weakest network could open it anywhere and work on it. And keeping up with the standards and regulations is the last one, because every next day there are lawsuits, people coming and raising questions that I was discriminated for this reason in country which is thousands of kilometers away. But because that lawsuit and a decision has been there, it impacts all assessment companies globally. So you have to be updated with these things that are coming up, and align and abide by them and look for solution. I'll just give you an example. A client came to us and told that we have candidates out of whom some have some visual disability and the others have hearing disability. So you can't give the same thing to them. And creating a bias-free environment for them should not create something that bias towards the other. So they said an accommodation the candidates are requesting is that they're given more time. The deaf candidates wanted more time. But how is it going to help? And for a cognitive test, getting more time impacts the results. And deafness has nothing to do with their performance on some abstract reasoning test. How to decide? You'll have to look for old paper, old guidelines that have been passed, and if this is possible, what will be the impact? Because getting more time, their performance will be better. And normal people from general population are not getting extra time. Obviously, they have to do the same thing in 1 minute. So whatever will be their first response will be the first. They won't have time to do it again and be correct. So now this is creating an opposite bias for the general population compared to those who are deaf, because they're giving correct answer because of getting more time and not because they were able to answer it correctly. So what
So taking
adaptations have to be
these
there?
challenges into consideration, the job responsibility and job prospects must be very, very high. So my last question to you is in terms of that, what will be the job prospects for the graduates coming to the psychometric industry?
Okay. I'll share you an example in a project that I've worked from NCRT. So for education graduates in assessment industry in general, not just like for the business, but for academic institute as well. So I was doing so one of the major ones is educational psychometrician or educational scientist. They are also called educational researchers, who are hired where uh, an assessment has to be designed in the field of education. So I was involved with this one project, which was led by the leading cross-cultural psychologist of India, sponsored by NCRT, and an education assessment has to be designed for tribal children. Who will do that? Only people like you, who are people in education, who are experts into that. because they'll only know what works, what should be the things, what type of items will work, what should be the design. So one is educational researcher and educational scientist. Then there are assessment specialists in testing companies and government agencies that who help implement educational assessment. The companies like Pearson, Cambridge, where they get employed assessment specialists. If you'll see many, especially in Cambridge Assessment Network, most of the people who are employed there are education grads and people who have higher specialization in the education industry. Then there are curriculum and assessment coordinators who help the schools and educational industry design the curriculum that will go. There's a separate wing within NCRT as well that employs people, specialists in education for designing curriculums. So this is the one. Data analyst position. It's a generic one, not limited to a specific industry. But if you have a great grip of psychology and education, with an expertise in analysis, so data analyst position is always there for you in both testing companies and consulting firms, because they don't want you to know test construction basics and design a test, but there's a consultancy firm and they need insights and they want to provide answers to clients and watch out the trends. So data analyst is another thing that's there. So and
Thank you. Thank you.
okay.
Okay, Dr. Aishwarya, thank
I
you
hope
for
it is
joining us
helpful.
and sharing us with the new career options for education graduates. Thank you, Dr. Rajiv. Dalvinder, Madam Dalvinder, over to you for the further session.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajiv, Dr. Aishwarya, and Dr. Vijay. So now I would request to the admission nominee, Mr. Pankaj Vij, to be on the screen. Over to you, Mr. Pankaj Vij.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you a lot, all the experts. Yeah. A great insight into the world of education. And actually, it was a revelation for me that this is yet another facet of education that
Stop.
test decide the career avenues that are present for a student in the future. So you can go to, a student can log on to our website, that is lpu.in, and take a psychometric test in order to ascertain as to what exactly he or she needs to do or wants to do after his or her +2, or what kind of subjects a student can go in for after 10th standard. So that's really great. So I just want to take the things further. With regards to what a student can expect when he or she comes to the university. So I'd like to share my screen. If you can give me the rights, Dalvinder ma'am. Dalvinder ma'am, can you give me the rights for sharing my screen, please?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
You can share your screen now.
Yeah, sure. Just give me a moment.
Yes, screen is visible.
Perfect. So as I was telling you that, let me take the things further. What a student can expect when he or she comes to the university, when he or she joins LPU. These are the things that you can expect. First of all, the first question that comes to any student's mind is what kind of accreditations and approvals does a university have under its belt? So these are the kind of approvals and accreditations that we have got at LPU. We are a NAC A++ ranked university with a score of 3.68 on a scale of 4. So we have been ranked first amongst the various government and private universities pan-India. Then we have got approvals from the Accreditation Council for Business Schools. This is the accreditation for management programs. Then the Indian Council for Agriculture Research, which is for the agriculture programs. We even have a UGC approval for all the distance education. Then all the more important for education students, we have got approval from National Council for Teacher Education, which is NCTE. So we are an NCT approved university. Moreover, you talk about Pharmacy Council of India, architecture, then planning, physiotherapy. So we have got approvals from these bodies as well. Moreover, we are a member of the prestigious Association of the Indian Universities, AICT, and so on and so forth. Talking about placements, well, placements, once again, admissions are the stepping stone to any student's career, and it culminates on placements. So with placements, we facilitate some real good placements for our students. And what you can see on your screen are the other flag bearers of placements at LPU, bagging packages as high as 3 crores and multiple lakhs with some of the industry giants such as Amazon, Google, and so on and so forth. And what you're seeing on the screen is a club of people who are amongst the 1 crore package club of LPU. Talking about extracurricular activities, well, that's another important part of education. All work, no play makes Jack a dull boy. So that's the extracurricular activities that and exposure that we give to our students. The year was the same year, 2023, and it was Khelo India University Games that were held by the government of India. And we were ranked second in these Khelo India Games. So if you are a sports freak, then well, we provide you the kind of infrastructure and the coaching that you need to excel in sports. Similarly, you name the sporting icons such as Neeraj Chopra, Bajrang Punia, Manpreet Singh, former captain of the Indian hockey team. These are all our students. The year was 2019 when we hosted the 106th edition of the Indian Science Congress, and which was inaugurated by none other than the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, in 2019. Well, we have had quite a few dignitaries in the university giving away degrees during the convocation ceremonies. And one of these ceremonies, we have hosted His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and he gave away degrees in one of the convocation ceremonies. Then we had 2 former presidents of India and Afghanistan sharing the same stage, giving away degrees in yet another convocation ceremony. Then we had the former Finance Minister of India, late Shri Arun Jaitley ji, who was there in the university campus, and he inaugurated a startup school. In 2018, we had the then Vice President of India, Shri Venkaiah Naidu ji, who was there, and he gave away degrees in yet another convocation ceremony in 2018. We have had intellects such as Gohar Gopal Das coming to the university campus and sharing live sermons with the students, with the parents, with the teachers, and so on. Yes, these people also throng the campus, but they don't only come to sing and dance. They do that thing as well, but they interact with the students as well, because these people are youth icons, and the students really listen to them really hard. And we call these people to interact with the students, share their experiences, because they have a lot of impact on the young generation. Talking about infrastructure of any university is an integral part of academia. And a marvel of a building on your screen, 14 blocks joined back to back, housing the central library of the university and quite a few other departments. And at the forefront, we have got an open air theater where students perform nukkad nataks and things like that. Then we have got an auditorium with a capacity of 2,500 people in a single go. These are the kind of laboratories that we have got. This is the computer lab that you're seeing on your screen, and you've got a whole lot of laboratories across the university. This is the library. That's the central library of the university, but every department has its own library. It's a 600-acre campus that we have got. That's LPU, which is located on National Highway number 44, running from all the way from Amritsar to New Delhi. And we are just on the National Highway number 44. And it's a 600-acre campus. And the heart of the campus, we have got this beautiful mall. Let's go inside the mall. These are the interiors of the mall. We have got stores where students can purchase their stuff. We have got exercise, and then we have got bowling alleys, recreational facilities, and so on and so forth. God forbid any student falls ill, but if a student falls ill, we are ready with a hospital within the campus. And it's a 25-bed hospital with resident doctors, medical staff, and we even have a dental chair in the university. That's a view of the university, of the open air theater, and all the open air theater events happen over here in this theater. That's a panoramic view of the university. We are a very lush green and a clean university. A few years back, we were awarded as one of the cleanest universities in India, a night vision of the university. Well, that's the sporting facility that we boast. All season, all weather swimming pool, which is an Olympic sized swimming pool that we have got. And then we have got shooting ranges. You name a court, you get it. Basketball, badminton, volleyball, and so on and so forth. We even have a squash court. So that's the aerial view of the sports complex that we have got within the university. Well, another important, very important part of education is the residential facility, which is the hostel, mess, and so on. So we boast a hostel facility which can accommodate as many as 25,000 students in a single go. And it's a completely secure campus, manned by guards inside out, 24/7. All three and studying over here would be in safe hands. So I guess that's all from my side. But before I go, I just want to show you the contact details. If in any case the student wants to contact us, you can contact us on these numbers. That's our helpline number. That's 01824517000. And if you want to write to us, you can always write to us on admissions@lpu.co.in. You can visit our website, which is lpu.in, where I am right now, and you can get to know about the various programs and the eligibilities of these programs that are being offered at lovely Professional University. So students, that's all from my side, and over to you, Dalvinder ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pankaj Ved. As I can see, there are some questions from our participant. Can we take questions, Dr. Rajiv, Dr. Vijay, and Dr. Aishwarya? Can we take questions?
Yes, Dalvinder, we can take the questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for giving me a chance to address your questions. Megha is asking here, what emerging career opportunities are available in the education sector today?
As this was already shared, that this webinar was addressed to only this thing, that what are the career options available for the education graduates. So most of the things that have been shared with us already, the two broad areas we have taken up, the instructional designing and the psychometric as an area. Wherein the instructional designer, Dr. Rajiv has given in detail that from the start of the instructional writer to the e-content writing, and then graphic designing or the audio visual preparations, and further the manipulations into the all these things that going into the junior instruction designer position, or the position of the instruction designer, and finally going into the area of the freelancing or consultancy in the field of instruction designing. So similarly, when we are talking about the psychometrician, Dr. Aishwarya has shared with us that there are different positions coming up when we talk about the skills of psychometrician, which result into the situation that you can apply for the roles of the test development or test developer, what we call as the assessment specialist, or the curriculum designer, or the psychometrician, or the assessment expert. So these different profiles are there, or psychometrician, or the educational consultant, like that. So those positions are available in this field after we pursue the masters in education, or the integrated B.Ed. M.Ed. or masters in education, MA in education, from the discipline from the LPU, because we have introduced the courses which prepare you for these careers into the instruction designing or the psychometric as a career.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vijay. Someone is asking here, BSc nursing versus B Pharma. Which course is better career option for boys?
Though this is not my field, but still, being a student of taking into all these things into as a career counseling for the 10+2 students, I would just guide that the more appropriate way is, what choice do you have? What interest do you have? Are you being a medical student? You have these options available to go for. Being a boy or a girl does not matter, because today is a gender neutral world. You have the possibility of getting the employment in years. Just see to your interest that where you feel like that you are outgoing uh, a personality who is ready to move around. So then the bachelor pharmacy will be one area, but even pharmacy is also going to area wherein you can have the research positions working in labs, wherein you have the sales positions also moving into the field. Similar is the nursing area, wherein you have the opportunities to take compassion into ground and work for the society. So it does not depend upon that boy or a girl, but it relates to more of that how you take a particular career or career discipline into consideration.
Thank
I
you so
hope
much.
I had been able
Yes.
to address the query.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Vijay. I hope all the participants got the answers from our expert. As we come to the end of this webinar, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our experts for sharing their valuable insights and expertise with us. So your presence, enthusiasm, and active participation have made this experience truly special. Hopefully, the attendees found this webinar to be valuable and will be able to utilize the information for better decision making regarding your admissions. If anyone wants to access this webinar again, they can visit our website, that is lpu.in, or can be accessed on YouTube also. Stay connected with us for future webinars. Until we meet again, with the permission of my seniors, I would be signing off this webinar. Take care and goodbye. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.